So this is my reaction to the Babies movie. Initially, I was surprised by some of their parenting techniques, such as like when one of the babies was playing with a bucket that had some water in it and spilled it. The parents started scolding them a little bit, and the older sibling was there and just didn't know what to do. Um, Another one was actually when the babies were wearing necklaces and jewelry. My mom was always scared to let babies do that, especially me and my sister, just because of the fear of having that necklace get hooked on something and choking them. Um, Another one would be like the spreading of germs and stuff. Some in one of the videos or in one of the sections of the movie, they were cleaning animals and raw meat, and they were skinning animals, and they were using a bucket to carry some of the stuff, and they just dumped the bucket out and then let the baby play with the bucket that had the raw meat and skin in it. Um, that was kind of surprising, but it was definitely eye-opening to see some of the differences in behaviors across the cultures. And but some of the similarities were actually some of the babies' like emotions and actions. They got excited to be able to play some stuff, and if they couldn't figure something out, then they got pretty upset. Um, you could tell they were intrigued by some things and not amused by other things, and so that is definitely a similarity between the two. Um, but actually, in the week one PowerPoint, when I was reading the definition of ethnocentrism, I realized that I was actually doing it the whole time, or yeah, almost the whole time I was watching the Babies movie, because I was judging some of the toys that they were playing with, whether they were playing with a bucket of water or like toilet paper or like an actual toy that's was made and designed for toddlers to increase motor skills or something. Um, and I was judging their parenting techniques, as I just told you. But I mean, on the other end of the spectrum, I kind of caught myself, and I was thinking, I mean, maybe playing with the raw meat is actually better for their immune system. It gets them exposed to more things, and I mean, as long as they wash their hands afterwards, like it's really not that big of a deal. But also maybe being on like a farm and touching the animals, being comfortable around the animals, watching out to not get stomped on by a cattle or bucked by a goat, gets them accustomed to what their future may be in that culture. If there may be an agriculture, they could grow up to be a farmer and help their parents out. Um, but another thing that I was able to connect to was also them or their parents showing them a lot of love and attention, which is always good, I guess, and especially in those younger um, years of our lives. I think that's pretty important to have. And I think a lot of the cultures did have that. Um, some of them let them figure things out on their own, which is also good. They leave them alone to see what they could do. Um, but some of these things, like playing with the raw meat or being around the animals, could have made them a lot stronger, as far as having a stronger immune system, or leaving them alone to figure things out on their own could make them more self-dependent and like reliable, building character. Whereas maybe sitting there and um, reading a book to them or something, having something that they can touch and feel the different animal textures, or um, something like that, would be more. Uh, Spending a lot more time with them might make them feel like they're a little more coddled, and they might grow up to be more spoiled instead of appreciative. Um, some of the individualistic cultures that I saw were, I think they were American or European cultures. It just seemed like it was one family taking care of a single baby, um, while in like another, I think they were Asian or African cultures, there were multiple mothers taking care of the young together, um, and there's more of a focus on the community because it builds stronger relationships with each other, which could help provide resources in the future. Whereas having the individualistic um, culture in like the American or European areas, it's is just that one family with their uh, own livings, that they make their own money to support their own family, they may not need help from others. So they are just very different cultures. So uh, kind of independent or dependent on each other. And I think that the movie in entirety was probably a little bit more to the etic side of the study, just because I don't I personally I was able to kind of relate to some of the uh, cultures being shown. I can relate to spending time with my family, and um, I mean sitting there having my mom read me a book or something. That if a study was done on a bunch of kids, maybe here I could definitely relate to that more. But a lot of it seemed like it was from all over the world, and I definitely didn't grow up in cultures all over the world. Um, I think that, uh, in my opinion, there was a little bit of both the emic and etic, but definitely etic dominant study. Um, I think that we would start the course with this movie because in Piaget's theory of the four stages of development, it starts off with the sensory motor stage, which is essentially the baby's learning things about their bodies and their different motor controls and their muscles. And um, although some of those babies may have been towards the end of that stage and moving into the next one, learning about their surroundings and learn about their own different cultures that they're actually in, seeing their different or seeing and experiencing some of the different responsibilities that they may have to grow into, such as maybe, I mean, moving out of the way for a cow or something, to handling livestock or cleaning animals and um, making food. Um, I think that's a good way to connect uh, how a culture can bring someone up through their development with different opportunities and responsibilities that some people may not see, some young may not see in other cultures. And I think that's a great place to start. And maybe next step could be like a movie about toddlers or something. But that was my overall response to the babies video. Thank you.